This is part 3 of the Super Meat Boy Forever Random Seed Any Percent tutorial. If you haven't seen the previous 2 videos in this series, I recommend watching those first as they introduce important concepts about the game and the first 3 worlds. In this final video, we will be talking about the final 2 worlds and beating the game. World 4 is the lab and introduces a lot of great gameplay mechanics, but honestly not too many speedrunning mechanics, so we'll kind of breeze through the levels here in this video. That doesn't mean that lab isn't hard, it is very difficult to play without dying. For this route, you'll be doing levels 1, 3, 4, and 6. Like before, you'll use A+ time scouting on levels 3 and 6 to potentially do level 5 instead. You'll start with 4-1, which is arguably one of the hardest levels to not die on. This level will really stress your chunk recognition abilities, as jumping wrong, moving too quickly, or even moving too slowly can put these orbs in very awkward positions. Since each chunk will require you to instantly know what to do, practicing this level with the practice save file mentioned in part 1 of this series is a really good idea. Also try to remember which chunks have boxes that you can break with the orbs to avoid dying or needing to take the slow route. This level just requires a lot of practice. In 4-3, you'll have to look at the A+ time to make a decision. If the time is greater than around 120, you'll immediately exit the level with the intention of finishing the world with levels 4, 5, and 6. However, usually you'll just complete this level like normal and there's not too much to say about it. There is nothing really to talk too much about in 4-4. There are a few skips, but generally the level is pretty straightforward and safe. When you complete 4-4, normally you'll exit to the menu and go to 4-6. But if you happen to skip 4-3, you'll need to just continue on to 4-5. 4-5 is a difficult level because the upside down sections are very disorienting. There are a lot of skips and a few rooftop chunks that can get insane, but it can be a very chancy operation to pull off. This level will usually only be a backup in situations where you get very unlucky on other levels, so just learning how to play it safely should be the first priority, which is difficult in its own right. When you're ready to learn more skips on this level, be sure to check out the Discord mentioned in part 1 to see the latest strategies. When you enter 4-6, check the A+ time if you haven't already played 4-5. If it is over a minute, exit the level and go back to do 4-5 instead. Otherwise, play this level like normal. This level is generally pretty easy, so you likely won't have too much trouble on this one. The A+ time can also get ridiculously low. There are a few skips, but there are 2 big ones you should recognize. The first is this chunk, where you skip a ton by diving down to the lower level here. The next is this chunk. You can hop up the walls to avoid doing a big loop around. Up next is the Dr. Fetus boss. First, I'm going to teach you a 3-cycle strategy, and then one of the faster 2-cycle strategies. On the way back here, you want to grab this uppercut block, and then kill all the clones. Fetus will then spawn right here so that you can dive punch him. And then you'll basically just do that same pattern twice more to do the 3-cycle. Ways that this can commonly get messed up is that Fetus's spawn is tied to the number of clones that you kill. And so if you get into a weird pattern, then Fetus will spawn in different places or at different times. And so I recommend just practicing a consistent pattern that reliably gets Fetus to spawn. Just mess around with it. Next, I'm going to show you one of the 2-cycle strategies. This involves pausing to cancel your hit lag while you're punching Fetus. Fetus requires 50 hits to kill, and normally you can only fit in 24 hits on each cycle, meaning you need 3 cycles to kill him. However, by pausing right at the start of your hit lag explosion animation, you can cancel enough lag to sneak in an extra hit or 2. This can save a cycle and around 5 seconds depending on how good your pausing is. Only start attempting what I'm about to show you once you can consistently get 24 hits on each cycle while doing the previous strategy. It starts exactly the same as the 3-cycle strategy. On the way back, as you're punching, you repeatedly press pause between 2 and 4 times, depending on how early in the explosion animation you press pause. I pressed pause 4 times here because my first 3 pauses were pretty bad. But then this last one was really early in the explosion animation, so I knew I got the frames required. After this first cycle, you can compare the health bar against a line in the floor to see how many punches you got. If it is lined up with this line in the floor, you know that you got one of the extra hits you need, and so you can do the pause strategy again on the second cycle to kill Fetus. If the health bar is even further to the left than this, you got at least 2 extra hits in, so no more pausing needed. If it is further to the right, it means you got no extra hits and should just do the 3 cycle and accept the time loss. On this second cycle, I get 1 okay pause and then 1 really good pause, so I feel confident stopping after 2 pauses, knowing that I probably got the extra hit in. I'm not going to go into all the nuances of this, but if you want to start doing this 2-cycle strategy, I highly recommend visiting the Discord. An in-depth explanation of this strategy with images of each explosion frame and how to react is pinned in the Strat discussion channel. Full credit to Glass for labbing this out. You made it to the final world, the other side. At this point in a real run, you'd be around 5 minutes away from finishing. The route for other side is simple, just 1, 2, 3, and 4. I will note that as strategies are evolving, people are starting to incorporate level 5 as a backup as well, but I won't be covering that here. Just something to keep in mind. To keep up with the latest strategies and routes, go check out the Discord. When you enter the first level, you'll have Meat Ninja selected. Make sure to go back and select Meat Boy. You won't lose any time while on this screen, and Meat Boy spawns into levels slightly faster. 5-1 will be one of your favorite levels to speedrun. The sheer number of skips in this level make it extremely satisfying. I can't show them all in this video, but be sure to check out the Strat videos channel in the Discord and practice using the practice save file. It is very important to learn the skips on this level, because this level can be very long without them. Don't be fooled by the A+ time in 5-2, it is actually much longer than it says. The slow motion mechanic also slows down the A+ timer, so the A+ time is misleading. To help with this, there are a couple roof hops to recognize that actually have a decent chance of chaining to skip other chunks. Learn these and the skips of this level and hope for the best. 5-3, without exaggerating, contains the single most important skip to know. You won't always get it though, so it's still very important to practice this level and learn the rest of its skips. What is known as the 5-3 skip is a skip unlike anything else in the game. You complete most of this chunk like normal. When you get to this black hole, swing it around so that you're pointing to the top right and then launch. Now, look at the level progress bar. Each level will be slightly different, but you'll need to start pressing down around here so that you land right in the front of the end of the level. Press down too late, and you'll risk having to do the 5-3 skip all over again as you fall off the back of the level. Too early, and you'll have to play the final chunk. Better to be slightly early than too late. It is possible for the level to be set up in such a way that landing correctly is impossible, but that is very rare. 5-4 is a pretty stressful, tricky level, especially when you're on PB pace and you don't know the chunks inside and out. Because of this, using the practice save file on this one is highly recommended. To avoid getting chunks into weird states before you get to them, I like to quick dash on this level without pressing down. Since you press punch twice for each quick dash, it won't change the polarity of the green blocks. Not pressing down also ensures that you don't change the polarity of the purple blocks. This level also has a difficult technique where you can clip into the green blocks. If you punch when you are just between 2 off green blocks, you'll hug the wall inside a block. From here, you can wall jump to turn around or slide to the floor to jump forward. You can also do this with the purple blocks, and it's very similar, but I won't cover that here. Once you've beaten 4 levels, you can move on to the last boss in the game. I'm going to teach you what's called the double box skip. To do the first box skip, drop your block as soon as you're punching the last wave to block the hand. Then, jump all the way across, skipping the first block. To make sure I hit this block, I like to flick down as I cross it, just in case my dash runs out. Then, you'll do basically the same thing on the second level for the second box skip. The hardest part is this jump. Because you skipped the second box, you will have to stall here for the hand to catch up. Jump from the temporary blocks just before they disappear, and then wait as long as you can before jumping onto the platform. If you don't wait long enough, the hand won't be ready and you'll take a 30-second death. If you're struggling with this jump, you can do the single box skip strategy instead, which is where you only skip the first box and do the second box like normal. You'll lose about 5 seconds by not doing the second box skip. Once you've gotten past the boxes, you'll have skipped a lot of the places the game expects you to do damage to the boss. This requires you to make up all that missed damage during the mashing phase. Don't worry, there's a trick to easily mash fast here. Instead of just pressing punch, mash punch and down as fast as you can, and you should easily get enough damage. After the first mashing phase, be careful not to go too fast here. Don't quick dash, just do a single dash to each platform. You'll enter another mashing phase where you should use the same mashing technique. After that, one last hit on the boss and you've completed your run. Your final time is the time on the speedrun timer on the frame you do the final punch. And with that, you now know everything you need to know to start posting some seriously fast times. I hope this tutorial series can act as a reference for many of the mechanics and routing decisions found in the speedrun. Like I've mentioned before, the Discord is the best place to find the most recent discoveries, skips, racing, and friendly people. There are too many people to list that deserve credit for making these videos possible, so I will just say thank you to everyone in the Super Meat Boy Forever speedrunning community that has been streaming, posting strategies, labbing frame data, and generally making this a wonderful, encouraging community to compete with. I speedrun this game a lot on my Twitch channel, so if that interests you, check out the links in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to watching your runs.